Practice is going well. Been pleased with our guys, with their effort and their focus up to this point. I think we've got 12 practices in, so we've been able to kind of get our system somewhat implemented. We got a few more weeks here before we get started. But I think our guys are excited.
What do you think of the schedule this year? Obviously, you guys have a tough stretch. I know you're playing Kentucky twice. Just talk about the schedule.
Well, right now our focus is obviously getting ready for Game 1. We open up on November 10th. We've got an exhibition game against Montevallo, who's obviously a very, very good team. And then regular season, we open up on the 14th at home. We've got two or three home games before we head to Kansas City for the Hall of Fame Classic, where we'll open up with Iowa State. I think our non-conference schedule will be extremely challenging for us. We've got true road games at Wichita State, at Xavier. As I mentioned earlier, the Hall of Fame Classic in Kansas City. Two very challenging games there. And then we've also got a very nice home slate in terms of having the likes of a Southern Miss and a South Florida and a UCLA in our building. So I think the schedule we've put together for the non-conference certainly will hopefully get us prepared for the conference.
What expectations do you guys have for the season?
Well, our expectations, as always, is to compete for championships. And that's the thing that we're trying to build in terms of the culture and the attitude of our players and our staff and everybody associated with our program, is to work toward that.
All right. Good friend.
Thanks, guys. Oh, okay.
Hey, Coach, if you will, just talk about being here for SEC Media Days. What has that been like for you, seeing all the different coaches and players from other teams, some people that you know and you have relationships with?
Yeah, today it's been a little different. This is the first time for us being in Charlotte here at ESPN and SEC Network headquarters. It's been great to meet a lot of new people in terms of the network and just to see the different resources that we have at our exposure now because of the SEC Network. But as always, it's always good to see your familiar, your I guess compadres, for lack of a better word, in terms of the coaches, and we're all in the same boat right now in terms of getting prepared for the upcoming season. So I think it's been a good day. I think our players, Levi Randolph and Retno Basahan, I think it's a great experience for them to kind of get a different view of what goes into preparing for a season in terms of all the stuff behind the scenes that they don't necessarily see every day. So I think it's been a good day.
Because this year, or last year rather, I guess, you had a guy graduate that meant a lot to the program, and Trevor Relaford. He was a great leader on the team. Who have you seen that's kind of stepped up and take on maybe that leadership role?
Well, yeah, you're exactly right. Trevor, was a 4-year starter for us, 4-year All-League player. Did a lot for our program, and certainly big shoes to fill in terms of his absence. But the thing I've been most pleased with is this is the first year that we've had a captain. And our team voted for the captain, and it was a unanimous choice to vote Levi Randolph captain of our team. So I think it speaks volumes to not only who Levi is, but really how his teammates feel about him. So that was good to see. But I think we also have several other guys that are capable of providing leadership for our team in different ways. Obviously Levi's the captain, but certainly you're going to need multiple leaders on your team, and I think we have a multitude of guys that can step up and fill those roles.
Coach, you had several newcomers on the team this year. Ricky Tarrant and Michael Kessens, who was on the team last year but couldn't play. They're eligible now. And you have lots of good freshmen that are coming in. Can you talk about some of those and what do you expect from them?
Yeah, really excited about the potential that we have for depth on our team. You mentioned the freshmen, Justin Coleman, Riley Norris, Devin Mitchell, and Jeff Garrett. Those 4 guys have come in, and the thing I've been pleased about with those guys is they've come in and they've understood the need for them to be humble and to learn, but also to challenge and to compete on a daily basis. And I think those guys have done that. They've acclimated themselves really well with their teammates. And I think our veterans have done a very good job of providing some leadership for those guys in terms of what's coming, what to expect. Ricky Tarrant and Michael Kessens are guys that last year had a chance to go through practice because they sat out as transfers, so they had a chance to learn our terminology and kind of learn our system a little bit. Some things will be different this year for them, but I think just that familiarity of being in the program for a year to go along with the experience that they got. Ricky, 2 years at Tulane, 1,000-point scorer, all-conference type player. He's a veteran in the game of college basketball because of the experience there. So he'll come in the door with that experience, which is huge. And then Michael Kessens, another guy with college experience, 1 year at Longwood. Again, learned our system last year, so another veteran guy for us that we'll be able to rely on.
Coach, there have been certain games where the fan experience has been incredible, where Coleman Coliseum has been packed, and it's really made a difference in the game. How much of a difference can fans coming out to every game make on this team?
It'll make a huge difference in a lot of different ways. First and foremost, our guys feed off of it. Over the last 4 years, we've been able to have a lot of success in Coleman Coliseum. If you look at our SEC record over the last 4 years, we're 30-4 at home. And I think a large part of that is because of the fans. I think the exposure that the SEC network will give us in the non-conference and in the conference, we have a chance every night because of our fan base to really sell the University of Alabama and show recruits what a great place Alabama is to make their home in terms of playing college sports at. So the fan involvement, showing up and doing what they do. Crimson Chaos, all of our alumni, our fans, our season ticket holders play a huge part in any type of success that we hope to build and sustain at Alabama.
One last question. This is for the All Access piece. You're probably going to shoot me for asking you this. Just tell me about being in the makeup chair. What was that like today?
The makeup chair, you know what? Having had to do this for a couple of years now, I'm a little used to it. The odd part about it was having my players watch me put makeup on. So I had to make sure I got some proof that they put makeup on too. So I feel a little better. I got a couple of photos in my pocket just in case I need to bring them out at a later date.
Hey, Coach Grant. Bryce Atkinson, ESPN Upstate. Great to see you. Anthony Grant. New season begins. It's interesting, funny walking in with you guys and behind Coach Pearl, and you see a whole entourage over there and us right here. But does that, with Coach Pearl coming in now back into the SEC, does that add with the Alabama-Auburn rivalry? Does that add another layer, especially to the basketball side of things with you guys, the respective schools?
Yeah, I think first and foremost, it's good for our state from the standpoint if you look at what Coach Pearl's been able to accomplish over the course of his career, the success he's had at every stop he's been. I think it brings a level of excitement. And then obviously, when you talk about Auburn and Alabama, you're talking about one of the great rivalries in all of college sports, and it transcends any particular sport. But I think certainly, if it's a situation where both of our programs can get where we both want our programs to be in terms of competing for championships, I think it only helps basketball in the state, promote basketball not only in the SEC but throughout the state of Alabama.
Right. What your identity of your team this year? What is it, the persona that you want them to have, and also the style that you're wanting to incorporate? Because it feels like, really, since you got to Alabama, at times you haven't been able to play fast, up tempo, really spreading the floor, pressing, a lot like your teams in Florida when you were an assistant for Coach Donovan.
First and foremost, you want to play a winning style.
Yeah.
And what you try to do is create a style that allows your team to maximize what you have from a talent standpoint. So sometimes on some teams, since I've been at Alabama, that's been teams that really have been able to create their identity on the defensive end. That's been kind of our staple. But certainly for us, if we can get to the point where from an offensive and defensive standpoint, we can play 94 feet, attacking both ways, offensively and defensively, that's the ideal situation that we want to try to create in the
Coming into the season with new expectations, new players, the expectations I know never change as far as to win a conference championship, make the NCAA tournament. How important, certainly without getting into names, but keeping kids home in the state of Alabama when it comes to recruiting and bringing kids in that are homegrown? A lot of talent in the state of Alabama basketball-wise, with kids that have just come out seemingly year after year.
Yeah, I think it's going to be really important to build a program to be able to sustain success. So we've got to be able to keep the best kids in the state at home. Right now, I think on our roster, we've got 7 or 8 guys from the state of Alabama on our roster. We've had a pretty good amount of success with keeping the guys at home. Obviously, every situation is different for every kid. You want to make sure that you're putting kids in a situation where they can be successful in your program. That first and foremost supersedes anything. But certainly I think it's a big part of our ability to be successful. But at the same time, we've got to be able to branch out and expand our reach, so to speak, from a recruiting standpoint.
And scheduling, talk about just how tough it is to schedule, because obviously unlike football where you schedule years in advance, basketball, in a lot of ways you schedule year to year outside of home and home, but the difficulty in trying to balance your expectations for the team, what you think you have, what you can be, trying to get quality opponents, quality non-conference games to come in at home and travel on the road. How tough is it to schedule non-conference to balance your expectations with getting what you need to do to have a strong resume, say, for the NCAA tournament?
Well, as you mentioned, our expectation is for us to build a championship caliber program, and in order to do that, we've got to be able to put ourselves in positions where we're playing high caliber opponents in the non-conference as well as what we faced in our league. But at the same time, obviously, you have to be mindful of who you are and what your team is capable of. Last year we challenged ourselves in the non-conference. I think we ended up with anywhere between the 5th and the 10th toughest non-conference schedule in the country last year, and unfortunately for us, we weren't able to win some of those games that we had opportunities to win. Had we been able to do that, it would have been make a different outcome for us over the course of the season. But for me, I think I'm really 100% bought into. In order for us to get where we want to get to, we've got to be willing to challenge ourselves with the schedule that we put together. So that's going to be our focus as we move forward. And certainly, I think the schedule we have for this upcoming season, will be another one that's awfully challenging.
Coach Tyndall mentioned, and some of the other coaches mentioned that he remembers being at, I think it was Coach Donovan's first camp that he had when he was at Florida. Yeah. And if you look back at who was there, it was Billy. You were there. He was there, and I believe there was another.
Like Frank Martin.
Yeah, Frank was there.
Gosh, probably Russell Springman, who's at Texas. I don't want to leave anybody out.
That was Donovan's the first year he was.
Could have been.
We a high school.
I think I met Donnie when we were actually assistant coaches at Marshall. And, I think Donnie may have played with John Brannon, who's one of my assistants now. So I've known Donnie for a lot of years and watched him grow as a coach and take advantage of some of the opportunities and that's been presented in front of him. So I'm really happy for him that he gets this opportunity to be at Tennessee now.
What's kind of your impression of his style? I mean, it seems like a lot of our guys.
I haven't had a chance to watch his teams play a whole lot in terms of that. But Donnie's a worker now. He's you look at the success that he's had over the course of his coaching career at Moorhead and then over at Southern Miss. I think he has proven that he's very effective in terms of his style and his brand.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Coach,
hey.
When you think, in relation to, the players that y'all lost, the guys you have back, and the guys you brought in, how excited or how confident are you about this upcoming season? How much?
Yeah, I really like our team. I think we've got a nice mix of veteran guys. I think we've got a nice mix of guys that gained experience, from last year. Some of our freshmen that got a chance to. I think both of our guys, Shannon Hill and Jimmy Taylor, by the end of the season last year were starters for us. And then I like the group that we brought in, the freshmen that we've added to our team. So I think we got a nice mix of guys that are multiple position guys. Allows us to hopefully, if we can stay healthy, put different combinations of different guys on the floor.
When you, I ask a lot of these coaches about this, but there's been this, I guess, national perception, maybe the SEC as a whole isn't up to par basketball-wise. Does the fact that the way the conference performed in the postseason last year, should that just settle that issue altogether?
Well, perception is in the eye of the beholder, right? So there's nothing that you can do about that. But I think when you look at the success of our league, I think we've got 3 national championships in the last 10 years. I think we won more games in postseason than any other league in the country. We had 2 teams out of our league that played in the Final Four. Obviously, Florida last year, they ran the table 16-0. Outstanding season. You look at Kentucky, Final Four participant, lost 6 or 7 games in the league. Tennessee, who was a shot away from going to the Elite Eight. At one point, people were wondering, is this a team that, because of the toughness of our league, struggled somewhat at different points during the season. By the end of the year, they were as good as any team in the country, and they had a chance to potentially get to an Elite Eight. So I think it does speak volumes of what our league is, and unfortunately, sometimes the perception that we may get as a league because of some of the struggles we've had in the non-conference have carried over throughout the conference schedule and into the postseason. So I think as a league, our focus is we've got to perform better as a league in the non-conference. So hopefully we can change that perception a little bit. But I think what's happened the last couple of years is the perception has been stamped by the time we're into the the end of December, so to speak. So, you know, there's probably not a whole lot that you can do for that other than you got to perform better than non-conference.
You have guys like a guy that's going to come in and pick up the pace of a Rutherford.
Those are big shoes to fill. You know, Trevor was a 4-year starter for us, a guy that was an all-conference player for 4 years, had an outstanding career for us. So, you know, I'm not looking for one guy to come in and say, you know, this is the guy that's going to pick up where Trevor left off. But I think we got some good pieces in place that can certainly make a big difference for our team. They'll be different, but you know, it's a pleasure coaching Trevor for 4 years, so we'll miss him.
Does Alabama's football success make it easier or more difficult to coach basketball?
Probably a little both, from the standpoint of it makes it easier because I think every program, every successful program will tell you what football is able to do. What Coach Saban's done is unprecedented in terms of the success he's had as the football coach at Alabama, winning national championships. Just what he's meant to our university in terms of the resources that's provided because of the excitement around what he's been able to do. So that helps in terms of what we're doing in terms of trying to build a program. The facilities that we have that our players have access to is because of some of the success that a football program brings. But then you deal with that word perception again. You know, a lot of people, from a perception standpoint, want to kind of pigeonhole you and say Alabama's a football school. But the truth is, you know, our gymnastics teams compete for national championships. Our softball team competes for national championships. Our golf team won back-to-back national championships. You know, I think our men's and women's tennis competed for individual championships as well. So it's kind of a perception that, you know, it's a football school, but I think we have the resources and the capabilities. When people come on our campus and see what we have, they're typically impressed. But from a perception standpoint, you're always dealing with that until you know, I was at Florida for 10 years, and when we went there, Spurrier was winning championships, and everybody said Florida was a football school. Well, you look now, whatever it's been, almost 20 years later, and people don't say that about Florida because of the success that Coach Donovan has been able to have. So he had to overcome that perception, and that's the process of what we're trying to do and hoping that we can get done as well.